Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Linux Tutorial, and here we're learning about the difference between absolute path and relative path. When you hear the word path, you can think of a pathway you take to go to some place, destination. In a file system, it works the same way. A path is a bit like that. It is the path that will lead you to a file or a directory, okay? So in our previous video, in this same playlist, you learned about basic commands that you will be using a lot, like pwd, cd, ls, among others. And these are really will be used very frequently in the coming days, even in your the workplace when you're using Linux. And with the video that you'll be watching today or tonight, wherever you may be, this will be very handy because it will be used together with a multiple commands, an assortment of commands, especially those dealing with file manipulation, file management. I mean, file management. Okay, so let's just begin with the definition of absolute path. Are we clear? Another command you've learned in a previous video. So absolute path is defined as the complete path to a file or directory. Okay, it begins with a forward slash or slash, which is roughly the equivalent of what in Windows we know as drive C, drive D, which is written as C colon backslash, D colon backslash, etc. It uses the root directory, which is represented by a slash, as its reference point. It describes the full path from the root all the way to that destination file or folder or directory. Okay, so let's just clear this and you can see that we are at the home directory of the username called dbos, all right? We know that because we have seen the output of the pwd, which is a command we have used in the previous videos, okay? So let's look at the directory tree just to get a visualization, okay? So we have learned from the previous videos that the dot in Linux represents the current directory. Okay, so in the directory tree, we are located at this dot representation, which is the output of the PWD at this point, okay? So if I wanted to go, let's say, one level down to a directory called snap, but I want to use absolute path, remember? So what I'm gonna do is I'll use the cd command, which we have learned in the past, and then dbos, and then, so meaning I will mention my current location, and then, because it's a full path, absolute path, I will mention the full path starting from the root directory all the way to my destination. So I want to go to this directory called snap. So this will be the absolute path or the full path. So again, it starts with a slash, which is the root directory, all the way to my destination. That's because I wanted to go to this, that's the directory called snap. Okay. And if you want to verify, actually, once you get familiar, you get confident, you don't need to do this. But at the beginning, maybe you're not yet that confident, then you can use the PWD just to verify you're at the right place. Anyway, you haven't seen any error when you issued the CD command. So we're in good shape, right? So you can see the output of PWD is slash home slash DBOS slash snap, which in the tree is here. Okay. Coming from here, we went one level down. Okay, similarly, if we want to go to, let's just say, two levels down to a folder called 54 or directory, then again, using the absolute path, what you will do is you will really use the absolute path. So cd slash home slash dbos slash snap slash tree. This is another, don't be confused, it's a folder, it's a directory called tree, and then slash 54. So compare this path, this is an absolute path, and compare this with what you see in the tree. Okay, so remember that this dot here was the value of this at that point previously was slash home slash dbos. So right now, if you do a pwd, it will be a different location. But at this point over here, just remember that this dot at that time was slash home slash dbos. So the full path is this slash home slash dbos slash snap slash 3 slash 54. And that's our absolute path, starting from the root directory all the way to your destination folder. Okay, so no errors. If you want to verify, you can use your pwd, and that's correct. It's exactly the path that was mentioned in my cd command. Why? Because it's what you call the absolute path or the full path, complete path. Okay, remember that. So there will only be two. As we go along, as we chug along and learn Linux, you will keep on hearing about absolute path or relative path. Only those two. All right. So you have seen, again, do not forget, absolute path is the complete path. It always starts from the root. Okay, now let's move on to what is called relative path. Let me clear the screen and then just paste it here. Relative path definition is a path that is relative to your current working directory. If this sounds familiar, that's because it's the output of the pwd command, all right? So it is in stark contrast to the absolute path because in the absolute path, you have to really mention the full or complete path, starting from the root directory. Here, you don't do that. You create a path relative to your current location in the directory tree. Okay, it does not start with a slash, and it uses the current working directory as its reference point. Okay. Let me just go to the home directory because right now we are here. Let me go to the home directory. And if I do a pwd, we're at the home directory again, slash home slash dbos. Okay, and then I'll show you the tree just to get you a visualization. Okay, so remember, our current location is this dot, which is slash home slash dbos. Now, if I, this time we'll be using the relative path. Earlier examples you have seen how we make use of the so-called absolute path. Now it's relative path, relative to your current location. How do you know your current location? You issue the pwd command, okay? Otherwise, if you don't always get to use this if you are quite aware of your location, then you don't have to issue the pwd command. Only when you really want to be very careful, maybe you're in the production room, in some production server, and you don't want to make a mistake, then you can keep on using this pwd, no problem. Okay, so we're at the home directory, and then you have seen the tree. Now, knowing that we're at slash home slash dbos, if I wanted to go to the folder called snap, which is here, so we are here, I wanted to go to a folder or directory called snap, then that's just one directory lower, isn't it? So since we'll be using a relative path this time, you don't need the full path. So cd space and then the path to the directory I want to go to. Since I only want to go to one level deeper to this specific folder, then I will just mention it like that. Okay? Because we are at this location, I want to go deeper, one level down to this folder. So cd space, and then the directory name, which is snap. All right, and then when you issue a pwd, this is the absolute path, but we use a relative path to get there, isn't it? Okay. Now, since we are here and we want to go, let's say, 2 levels deeper, 1, 2. Okay, so we are here. That's the output of the pwd. Remember, it's here. So we are at this location. I want to go 2 levels down to the folder called 54. So I'll go through 3, which is the folder name, and then 54. So what I'm going to do is this: cd space the directory name slash directory name. Okay, don't get confused. We are at snap. I want to go to 54, but to get there, I want to go through the proper channels. All right, so I'll go through 3, a directory name, and then 54. So cd space 3 slash 54. Remember, I don't begin my path with a slash, otherwise it will be, I'm telling the OS that it is a directory which is directly beneath the root directory, which is not the fact, right? So this is the absolute path. Absolute path relative to my current location. Okay, no errors. If you want to verify, then we're correct. This is the full path, /home/dbos snap /tree/54. Okay, so in these examples, we are using relative path, relative to your current location. How do you know that? By issuing the pwd command. Okay, now that we have seen it, how we work our way down the tree, we will do the opposite, which is working our way up the directory tree. Okay, let me just clear the screen. It's getting messy, and then we display the tree. Okay, no. cd home tree. Okay, I will. Sorry. Okay, I just wanted you to see the tree, and at the same time have the proper location where I can go up the way I wanna do it. Okay, so I'm now at this location at 54. Okay, but I wanna go one level up to the directory called tree. So remember from our previous video, we'll do it cd space double dot. What we're doing is called the relative path. Relative path will sometimes use, it will not use, it may not always use a folder name. Okay, so if you want to go one level up, two levels up in the directory tree, you can just keep on using a double dot, unless I can give you some other examples in some other videos. There'll be scenarios, there'll be use cases wherein you will have to specify the directory name. But in this case, you're simply going one level up, two levels up, then you can do this. Okay. So cd space double dot. Double dot in Linux means parent directory. Okay. So it's quite easy to understand. Parent directory. It's not the subdirectory, but it's the reverse. All right. So from the 54 folder, I want to go to the directory called tree. Okay, cd space double dot. pwd, we're there. All right. So if I wanted to go two levels up from this location I'm highlighting, tree, I want to go two levels up to snap and then to dbos. This is the former location of home directory. Okay. Again, from tree, I want to go two levels up. I want to go to snap, and then finally I want to get to this location. So I will do cd space double dot slash double dot. We have discussed this in the cd video, in the video I had about the change directory command. Then if you will go through that, then you will be refreshed by the usage of this one. We are using relative path, but you will see it's not mentioning folder names there because we're going up the directory tree. When we do that, you can use the double dot, which represents the parent directory. So meaning, I'm saying from my current location, I want to go one, two, two levels up. I want to go two levels up from my current. Okay, so if I do this from the tree, I go two levels up, I go here, and then finally here, which is /home/dbos. Okay. Again, if I issue a PWD, then we're there. Okay. So in this short video, you learn about absolute path and relative path in Linux. Don't worry about it because in the coming videos, we will keep on using interchangeably, sometimes alternately, sometimes absolute path, sometimes relative path. But in most cases, the more practical one to use is the relative path. But if you want to play safe, you're in a very you're quite new, and then you're in a production server, can't make mistakes, then the safest is the absolute path. Okay, thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click the bell. I'll be seeing you in the next video.